Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a really powerful story about a boy named Arav. And trust me, by the end of our time together, the lesson he learns is going to completely shift how you handle your everyday stress. If your daily burdens are feeling just way too heavy right now, well, you're absolutely in the right place. Let's jump right in.
We've all had those moments where we feel utterly overwhelmed by daily struggles, right? Sometimes it honestly feels like the weight of the entire world is just sitting squarely on our shoulders. Well, today, we're looking at a surprisingly simple solution to that exact feeling, and it all comes from a truly beautiful tale.
Section 1. The Weight of Small Problems. Let's meet Arav. Now, Arav was a clever kid from this lush, green village, but he had one major flaw. He worried. A lot. Like way too much. Every minor inconvenience felt completely insurmountable to him. For Arav, every single tiny difficulty was a mountain. Hot weather?
How can anyone work in this heat? He'd complain. A little bit of homework from his teacher? This is literally impossible. Helping his mom with basic chores? Why is everything so hard for me? It was just this constant, endless stream of complaints. And honestly, it really mirrors how we all act when we're feeling overworked, doesn't it? I mean, we've all been in a Arav at some point.
But here's the really unfortunate consequence of that mindset. No one likes being around someone who only sees problems. Day by day, Arav's complaining got so toxic that people slowly just started avoiding him. Exhausted by all the endless sighing, his dad finally decided, you know what? It's time for a practical lesson to shake Arav out of this miserable cycle.
Which brings us to Section 2, the bitter pond. Arav's father called him over and led him on this long walk to the edge of the village, right up to a body of water that was just completely still and quiet.
His dad gave him 3 really simple instructions. First, he handed Arav a small handful of salt. Second, he told him to throw that salt directly into the still water of the pond. And third, he asked his son to bend down, cup his hands, and take a taste.
So Arav takes a sip and immediately spits it out in utter disgust, shouting, "It's so bitter!" And wow, this brilliantly illustrates the first half of our metaphor. That claustrophobic, incredibly bitter taste, it perfectly represents a closed-off mindset. When your emotional capacity is small and stagnant like that pond, even just a handful of daily problems can ruin the whole experience.
Moving on to Section 3, the freshwater river. His father simply nodded. See, the lesson didn't stop there. He immediately led Arav away from the pond and walked him over to a wide, actively flowing river nearby.
Here, they repeated the exact same experiment. His dad handed Arav another handful of salt, the exact same amount as before. Arav tossed it straight into the wide flowing river, and once again, he cupped his hands to take a drink.
But this time, Arav looks up in absolute surprise. "It's fresh," he says. "I can't taste the salt at all." The water tasted completely pure. And suddenly, the narrative just opens up with this profound feeling of relief, all because the salt was entirely undetectable.
Section 4, the secret of the salt. This incredible contrast brings us to the absolute core wisdom of the father's lesson. This is the exact moment where everything clicks for Arav, and hopefully for us too.
The crucial takeaway is captured so beautifully in his father's words. He says, "Life's problems are like the salt. They are always there and their amount never changes. But how much they affect you depends on the size of your heart." I really want you to let that sink in for a second. The amount of salt, the sheer volume of chores, stressors, and hardships you're facing, that is a constant. Think about the pond again. If your emotional capacity is small and isolated, life is going to become overwhelmingly bitter. But now think of the river. If you grow your heart to be vast and moving and expansive, you hardly feel the bitterness at all. The salt is totally still there, but it's completely diluted by your massive capacity to handle it. Talk about a light bulb moment. Arav finally realized that the world wasn't inherently cruel. To stop suffering, he didn't need some magical fairy tale life with 0 problems. He just needed to expand his internal capacity. Basically, he needed to stop being the pond. Which leads us to Section 5, how to become the river. Because honestly, understanding the metaphor is great and all, but how do we actively practice this mindset shift in our own chaotic, everyday lives? Well, Arav decided to change his perspective little by little. He took the exact same things he used to complain about and completely reframed them. Extra homework? That's a chance to get better. Carrying heavy water buckets? It's a way to grow stronger. The hot burning sun?
just another test of face with resilience. By actively shifting his view, he was literally diluting the salt. Now, this transformation wasn't magic, right? It required real work. For the first few days, his old habit of complaining kept trying to pull him back in. But over the coming weeks, he just kept remembering his father's words. And over the months, a true transformation took hold. By continually choosing a wider perspective, he actually managed to change his baseline temperament.
And the ripple effects of this river mindset were just spectacular. People immediately noticed his new calmness. And because he finally stopped complaining all the time, his friends actually wanted to hang out with him again. His teacher praised him, his parents felt super proud, but most importantly, Ara felt lighter inside. As he widened his heart to handle stress, his relationships flourished, and his internal suffering basically vanished.
He was still facing the exact same storms, the exact same exams, and the exact same chores as before. But instead of drowning in them, he floated effortlessly. He carried the stones, the leaves, and the salt of life with absolute ease, just like that flowing river.
The ultimate takeaway from this explainer is actually quite simple. Problems don't shrink, we grow. You really shouldn't waste your precious energy wishing for fewer challenges or waiting around for the salt to just magically disappear from your life, because it won't. You must simply grow your heart wider to handle those challenges with absolute calmness. Because when we grow, every problem becomes small.
So the next time you feel stuck, frustrated, or totally overwhelmed by the daily burdens of life, just pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, are you trying to shrink your problems, or are you growing your heart? Am I being the pond, or am I being the river? Thank you so much for exploring this powerful story with me today. Keep expanding your capacity, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.